Let's start with the Nets. Brooklyn Nets GM Sean Marks issued the following statement yesterday. Let me read this to you, and I quote, Steve Nash and I. Let me stop right there. Isn't that interesting that that's how that statement starts? Steve Nash and I, together with Joe Tsai and Clara Wu Tsai. Let me stop right there again. Notice they're getting top billing over the owners. Steve Nash and I, together with Joe and Clara Wu, met with Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman in Los Angeles yesterday. We have agreed to move forward with our partnership. We are focusing on basketball with one collective goal in mind: build a lasting franchise to bring a championship to Brooklyn. End quote. Jim Rome is issuing a statement today. Statement reads in full. Hell yes.
Hell yes.
I love this. I love this.
I love it.
I love everything about it. I love that they're running it back.
I love him.
And even more importantly, I love the wording of the statement, which includes this gem of a line. And I quote, "We have agreed to move forward with our partnership." That's an incredible line. You can put, quote, "move forward with our partnership," end quote, right up there with conscious uncoupling in terms of amazing phrases that mean next to nothing at all. Two sides are moving forward with their partnership because they could not consciously uncouple. They tried. And even better, I love everything about this. Even better is that they slapped Durant's logo on the statement next to the Nets logo. Like that was just going to make everything okay. Going back to the analogy that I made yesterday, but I'll reset right now. Kind of like, yeah, you see, kids, mommy and daddy do still love each other. Our logos are right next to each other. I mean, yes, we hate each other's guts. No, we haven't slept in the same bed for months. Yes, we take separate vacations. Yes, daddy has a side piece and mommy's getting it on with her personal trainer. But we love each other very much, and we can't wait to see what the future holds. Yeah, that or mommy is going to fire daddy's ass, get half the assets, and full custody of you little ingrates. You know, sort of like Durant tried to fire the coach and the GM, and when ownership said no, he tried to force his way out in the worst power play ever attempted in the history of the league, only to come running back, tail between his legs, and act like this is what he wanted all along. Oh, and to slap his boardroom logo on the announcement. This is all so hilarious and such an unbelievably bad look for Durant. Worst power play attempt ever. And this guy having to walk it all back is one of the worst looks ever. And calling it, quote, a partnership and photoshopping his logo on the statement is both one of the dumbest and most hilarious things I've seen since I started in this business more than 3 decades ago. Yes, that dumb. Yes, that hilarious. Especially when the statement was put out by one of the two guys that Durant tried to fire. That makes it even dumber and even more hilarious. I got to be honest, I'm not sure that I've ever liked KD more than I do in this given moment. Like, I've never respected him less after this failed coup, but I've never liked him more than I like him right now, if that makes sense. And that's not to say that I don't respect the guy, because he is still one of the best in the world and one of the best to ever do it. But this is such a bad look. And it is the worst attempt at a power play I've ever seen. I mean, what's next? Dropping that logo on the front of his jersey? Changing the name of the Nets to the boardroom? Oh, so close. Nice try, KD. Almost worked. Oh, so close. Yeah, because that was ever going to work. I hope you learned your lesson. Sometimes you have the hammer. Sometimes you don't. You thought you had it. You were wrong. Of course, teams were not going to give the Nets anywhere near what they needed to move you. Yes, you still have something in the tank. However, you're 34. You're banged up.
34.
You're prickly as hell, and you're never, ever happy. Seriously, KD, when was the last time you were happy? Ever? You pretty much got exactly what you wanted in Brooklyn. The contract, the money, a say in personnel. And yet you were still miserable enough to demand a trade with 4 years left on your deal. Seriously, dude, when were you last happy? Ever? Maybe that first year in OKC? Maybe at UT? Maybe when you were 9? I mean, when were you ever happy? Of course you're not going anywhere. There was no way that they were going to get what they needed to move you. And no way you were going to go all Kyrie with it and just not show up for work. What I'm saying is this was the biggest waste of time ever. And one of the biggest bleep shows ever. And your rep just took another big hit. And best of all, and let's be very clear about this, in no way is this over. Y'all showing up with this hilarious statement with your matching logos saying that you're going to move on with this partnership. Do not act like this is over. Do not act like you fixed this. There's no way that they're not all holding a ticking time bomb that's going to blow off a few of their digits and half their face when it does go off, because it will, and probably sooner than later. And I can't wait for that to happen. Oh, and by the way, what about that part-timer? What about Kyrie? How pissed do you think that Kyrie is that his logo didn't get any real estate on that laughable and embarrassing statement yesterday? I mean, after all, Kyrie had already promoted himself to part owner after the Nets were swept in the first round. One thing to think it, another to say it for the record. I'm telling you, I love absolutely everything about this. I cannot wait for the start of the Nets training camp and all 82 games of this bleep show. I am here for all of it. All of it. And by the way, where does it leave Steve Nash? Up Bleeps Creek without a bleeping paddle. Don't act like Nash somehow got over. Don't act like Nash somehow gets a dub for this. Don't act like this is a win for Nash. Because you know KD and Kyrie still can't stand this guy. You know they still don't respect this guy. You know they still don't want to play for this guy. So knowing all that, and Nash does, because Nash is no dummy. Knowing all that, my question is, why the hell would Nash want to coach these dudes? Why the hell would Nash want to be there? Oh, and Ben Simmons too. Go ahead and throw that Simmons Molotov cocktail into the mix, if in fact he actually does show up and play. Nash can't fix this. Better yet, why the hell would he even try? Because clearly, it's not a question of if this guy gets fired, but when. So why not get out in front of it and do the smart thing, Steve-O? Quit. Yeah, I know. If you quit, you don't get your money. But you don't need the money. And you sure as hell don't need that headache. The headache of these guys undermining you and disrespecting you on the daily. They don't give a damn about you or what you accomplished as a player or anything you have to say right now as a head coach. Steve, I'm here to help. I know you're not asking my advice, but maybe you should. You know what you should do? You should take your soccer ball and go home and kick it around all day long. Then you can get up and play soccer all day. It is the beautiful game. Because right now you're currently presiding over the biggest bleep show ever. You could play the beautiful game or you can preside over the beautiful bleep show. What are you going to do? I mean, I don't care what any of them are saying. This is not over, but it will be at some point. And when it does end, it's going to end really badly for Steve. Nash, get out while the getting is good. Never forget, the part-timer is on record as saying they don't even need a coach. That KD or Kyrie could coach that team themselves. Great. I mean, do it. I'd love to see it. I got to admit, I'll own this. You know me, I'm all about responsibility, accountability, ownership. I'll own this. I'll admit and own that I've actually done a 180 on this story. I've gone from thinking that it was the lamest thing ever to one of the best things ever. I used to hear and ask, when is this bull bleep going to end? Now I'm terrified that it might end. Unfortunately, for those of you who love team content, this thing is going to end at some point. And if you want to talk about the basketball aspect of it, if you're an actual Nets fan, and you think this is a good day, and you think this makes you the team to beat in the East, you're wrong. Personally, I still like Boston better. Personally, I still like Milwaukee better. Personally, I might even still like Philadelphia better. Personally, I might still like Miami better. Personally, to me, you might still be fifth best in the East, even with all these guys back in the fold. Because no matter how good you look on paper, you know there is more really bad bleep right around the corner. And I, for one, cannot wait for it to happen. I've got my popcorn ready. And no, big head, I'm not going to hit them at plus 700. James Kelly weirdly, and James Kelly weirdly loves certain things that I'll never understand, but he was all about the Nets. He would not get off that bandwagon all year long. I guarantee James Kelly's like, yeah, plus 700. All year, boss, except for when I'm chasing cows. All year, boss man, all year. Yeah, I'm not doing it. And I'll tell you why I'm not doing it. Because on paper, they do look very intriguing. But in reality, they're going to rip apart. They will rip the hell apart. It's not a question of if, but a matter of when. They will. They will. There's no way this can work. But for team content, A+. A+. I'm telling you, they're weird things. Over time, I've done a 180 on some things. Things that I used to hate, I love. Things I used to love, I hate. Things that I had no time for, suddenly I can't wait to get to. The Nets are one of those things.